Alrighty, so today I am back with Lavagirl Bracers Part 2. So we are going to be plasti dipping both bracers. I am using plasti dip to go ahead and start on the right bracer. Make sure you get all over on the front in the areas that you're going to be painting. This helps for the foam not to absorb the paint once you spray paint or hand paint. This is also day 2, meaning the foam, the moldable foam, is completely dry. As you can see, I'm repeating this step on the other bracer as well. Make sure to get every single angle. Next, you're going to go ahead and prime it. I am using white primer. You can use gray primer. I prefer using white because it will make my pink look a lot brighter. I am priming both. So just so you're aware, I did let the plasti dip dry completely, and then I went ahead and primed. So I am priming them both in white. Make sure to get all the angles, bottom, top, side, and everywhere that's going to have paint, which is on the bottom, top, and side. And this is just with like a spray can of primer. You might have to add multiple layers of primer with the right bracer just because of the curves. Make sure to get underneath the grooves as well. Alright, so after the primer dried, now we get to actually spray paint the magenta or pink for the Lavagirl. Same as the primer, you want to make sure to go ahead and get underneath the little grooves as well, get all sides and all angles, and make sure to nicely even it, nicely spray paint evenly so you don't get splotches. But with Lavagirl's bracers and a lot of the Lavagirl products, splotches are not too bad because she is kind of made of lava and has lava all over, which you know is kind of splotchy, so that's totally okay. I did kind of keep the duct tape on there for the majority, but since I was going to be finishing these off, I went ahead and just took it off for the time being and try to keep them in shape. I tried to spray as much as I could to cover up all of the white primer, and like I said, just make sure to check under the grooves and all around. And that's it. Just add little finishing touches, make sure that everything's okay, and then plop them down. Once those are done, I went ahead and grabbed my airbrush. This is on day 2, day 3, once everything was completely dry, and I went ahead and did a magenta airbrush acrylic paint with a little bit of black acrylic paint and mixed it in, and then I started doing all of my shading all the way around, as well as around so all the way around the bracer, as well as around the little balls, the little grooves. And I did the same thing on the other side. I went ahead and did around the little shapes, and as well as around the circles, or half spheres if we want to call them, because she does have darker shading. I was going back and forth. You do want to go back and forth with your bracers, so if you see me switching up, that's why. And you're just, like I said, you're just going to be going all the way around. And as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit more shaded as we go on. Next, I went ahead and used this jack-o'-lantern orange paint from Walmart, and this is just regular acrylic paint. I'm applying it with a paint brush, and I went ahead and did it on the circles of the right bracer. Once the airbrush was completely dry, I did have to do this in little increments because you have to wait for each little section of paint to dry. So I would put some orange paint and then I'd let it dry, and then I'd continue adding some more orange paint, and this was just a huge process overall. But in this lighting you could see now the shading a little bit better as well. So this is quite a few coats in now, so now I'm going to go ahead and just move on to the next one. She does have some lava balls on the left bracer as well, so I went ahead and used that paint on the lava balls, but she also has lava that kind of runs throughout the bracer, and I wanted to keep the same consistency of the orange, so I went ahead and used the same jack-o'-lantern orange acrylic paint just throughout. It did need multiple layers, but the fact that it was kind of you know, streaky was not bad because we are trying to create the look of lava. So if you do get a streaky look, don't worry, just make sure to get a complete look. So as you can see, I went ahead and added another layer of paint on here. It's still streaky, which is exactly what we want, but it doesn't look like it's missing paint. So you just want to make sure that you don't see the pink underneath. You just want to make sure that it's covered, but streaky is completely fine because it helps with that lava look. And like I said, this is just regular paint from orange. It's called jack-o'-lantern paint from Walmart, and the brushes are also from Walmart. So I pretty much just did all the way around on there to give it that really bright look, and as you can see, that orange is nice and bright, so it does help with the lava look. Next, I went ahead and experimented. I had never done this before, and I decided to do Velcro to close my bracers. So you will see I did have some trial and error here. I originally was going to do my bracers a certain way, but then I ended up figuring out that it just wasn't going to work out that way. I started cutting out my bracers evenly and then realized that the way I wanted to stick them wasn't going to work out, so I had to come up with a solution, which was to stick add glue onto the soft piece that connects to the Velcro and attach that in the inside part, which I'm doing here, and then the Velcro rough piece is actually going to have half soft, half rough, and it's going to be sticking in the inside with the actual sticky part, and then I'm going to add contact cement. Be aware when you're putting contact cement on top of adhesive, it does end up raising some of the adhesive. Sticking this on was a little bit tricky, but in the end I did find out that you can also use super glue. Super glue worked out very well for the very last step. And I can go ahead and show y'all exactly like a closer look. I will show you actually at the end a closer look on how these look. But like I said, I'm going to be posting these patterns on my Patreon. Y'all can feel free to ask me more questions, or I could show you more of a close-up on how I did these on my tier 3 Patreon. So I am adding some glue again, and this is pretty much just the same exact steps that I did on the other one. So I started cutting it like more when it was already glued on there. Experimenting with Velcro was, like I said, something new, but you can also use a zipper. I do see other cosplayers that create bracers use a zipper, and pretty much what they glue is the fabric of the zipper on each side and then zip it up like that. Velcro was just what I had on hand, but I will say using Velcro does work. You just kind of got to get a little experimental. So after I did Velcro and got it to glue, I actually sticked both of the pieces together and then started adding my Mod Podge with a sponge brush, and I Mod Podged every little crease. As you can see, I'm trying to get into every little corner as best as I possibly could. I do want to apologize again for the cat bells. I'm trying so hard, but my cat will not stop moving around. So yes, I'm just doing Mod Podge all over the place. This was after everything dried completely, and I'm making sure to get into every single little crease so we can completely seal up this bracer. Also, this is matte Mod Podge, but it does give it a glossy finish, so I guess the glossy must be glossier. Afterwards, I did use some super glue to kind of glue up the rest of that Velcro piece that just didn't want to close. and then I continued on with the Mod Podge on the left bracer. Same concept, you want to go ahead and put Mod Podge in every little crease that you possibly can, because you want to make sure to completely seal up your bracers so that paint stays on there and you get that nice glossy look afterwards, even though this is matte, like I said. Once this is done, you are going to have to let these dry for like a complete day, because there is bubbles that sometimes come up. I always try to cheat it a little bit and use the hair dryer, but I did have to use the full day. And this is how they came out. As you can see, I keep trying to put the costume together for y'all as we make it. So this is the right bracer that we worked on first, and as you can see, I opened it up from the Velcro, and I'm going to close it up. Super easy, super simple, and it stayed in shape because the Mo foam actually, you know, dried like that. And then this one was a little bit trickier because of the shape that it's in, but they worked out. I really love them, and I hope to go ahead and put this pattern for the bracers up on my Patreon tier 3 for y'all. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I am live on Twitch every Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time and Friday at 5 p.m. Central Time if you want to go ahead and chat and ask me questions. See ya!